as we just walk and talk here, you came out of software. You had a stint in solar in the 80s, and then in the early 2000s, you said 2001, you started Akeena, which for those who don't know, was the original OG, first publicly traded solar installer in America. In the world?
I didn't pay attention to the world.
Certainly in America.
First one in the U.S. Yep.
And why was 2001? Why was that the right time for you to start a solar company? And then how did you know it was time to go public?
So the reason why I knew it was time to start the solar company is because my software career had died as part of the internet crash.
Yeah, that's right.
And I kind of went back and I said, gee, what else is going on? I read an article in the Mercury News about Clint Eastwood putting solar panels on his houses in Carmel Valley. And I said, gee, let me look into the numbers on that. Because this is about at the same time that the Enron disaster hit, PG&E was going bankrupt, the rates went up, and they had big incentives. And when I crunched the numbers back in 2001, I say, gee, this is positive cash flow based on, fair installation price. And so I did a few neighbors and I did my
house. This is pre-California Solar Initiative.
This was the original. This was before the CSI program.
Yeah,
this was
so
a 2001
solar self-gen program.
It was a CEC program. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was a California Energy Commission program, and basically managed by the utilities. And I started doing that. The rebate, I think the rebate was it might have been up to $4.50.
Yeah, $4.50.
$4.50 a watt. And the modules at the time, they started at $4 a watt. They came down to about $2.50.
You could basically put the modules on upside down.
And it worked. The whole thing worked. And so the reason why I expanded nationally is I said, gee, wonder what other states have good incentives. And it happened to be New Jersey was the next one.
Oh, wow.
And I crunched the numbers. I said, this is even better.
But New Jersey didn't have great incentives. They had a good rec program, right?
No, they had cash incentives. They had a rec program and they had $3 a watt incentives.
Did you ever go to North Carolina?
Never got to North Carolina because it was very hard to monetize the rec programs.
Yeah.
In order to kind of get enough money for it, you make sure it was going to, because it was a bidding market also. So you never knew what the numbers were going to be. So I started with recs in New Jersey and we opened up an office in New Jersey, then New York, then Connecticut, then Colorado, a few other states. And we were operating back and forth throughout the country. And what inevitably would happen is the incentives would change or go out. So New Jersey's incentives disappeared for 6 months. New York disappeared for a year. And so traumatic for a company after you build an operation in that state.
To stop.
Stop. Because you have to close it down, otherwise you lose money. And then the incentives came back and we opened up offices twice in Colorado, twice in New Jersey, twice in New York, twice in Connecticut, once in Pennsylvania. And basically, what I realized in order to kind of so you came back to the question about going public. So we kept growing. Top line revenue kept going up.
Yeah.
Our expenses kept going up just as fast. Yeah. We had talked to venture investors and they were kind of like, we're interested in technology, things like that. And I was like, this is our business. We couldn't find a way to go public, but I have a good friend that said, why don't you do a reverse merger into a shell?
Right.
So we did a reverse merger into a shell. Stock started at $1, then it went to $2, then it went to $4, then it went to $7. Our peak was 17.
Wow.
And so we did very, very well. But then what happened as we tried to scale and continue to grow, states would come and go, and we could never get to a really highly profitable cash flow positive.
Yeah.
Every single month or every single quarter, do an earnings call, revenues up, expenses up even more, losses changing or getting worse. And so at that point, I coined something called Cinnamon's Law, which says the bigger an installer gets, the harder it is for them to be profitable on the residential side.
Yeah, and so none of these failures for you have been a surprise. SunPower even going out of business. Probably not surprised by SunPower, not surprised by Sunnova, not surprised by, what was it, Blue Raven? I mean, all the ones that...
Yeah. When things change, it's dangerous. And now we're looking at another situation where that's going to change.
Yeah, of course.
We've got the tax credits going away. It's very traumatic. We ran the numbers for leasing back in 2004, 2005, and couldn't figure out how to make it work. But Solar City had, I would just say, better financial engineers.
Sure.
And then Sunrun kind of copied that. And there were ways to make it work. So you could run a national installation business that was growing with the right cash flow, as long as you also offered financing. But if you didn't have the financing and make the money off the financing, you couldn't do it.
At its peak, what was the annual revenue for Akeena?
I think we're doing 40 or 50 million.
Wow, 40 or 50. And what is, do you know what Sunnova was doing, for example, on a quarterly basis?
I have no idea.
Or I feel like they were probably doing hundreds of millions.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I don't remember the number myself either. What's in the name Akeena?
That's a good question. People ask me how I came up with the name Akeena. And one of the marketing things that I learned is that if you're going to create a brand, you have a stronger brand if it doesn't mean anything in any other language. If you coin the word, Kleenex is an example. So and also my father-in-law basically said, always start a company with an A because you're going to be at the beginning of the list. So I just started to make up random A words, and I came up with the name Akeena just randomly. It didn't mean anything in any language I could find. It's the other thing you have to check. And you want to make sure it's not a curse word in some
somewhere,
language. So that's how we coined the name.
Yeah, I always loved the name because I love words that start and end with A. It's very clean.
Yeah.
And in my mind, it just was always Akeena. Akeena.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
name.
Akeena.
Good name.
And I think I've probably shared this on a couple of episodes, but folks know that I started, just down the street in Monterey with a very small residential, small commercial installer. We called it Blue Line Power. And I remember when the guys at Real Goods so Real Goods had bought the guys down in Santa Cruz, independent. And I was competing against them and you and Solar City and Sungevity. And I remember to a person meeting you and Danny and you probably don't remember me meeting me back then, but it was at a trade show, not the one where we first met and talked, but where we just sort of met. And I remember you were like, "Oh yeah, Blue Line, I've heard of you guys." And I was just like, holy shit, because we had actually won business. We won the York School out from under you guys, which you had, apparently we didn't know this, but had been working on it a long time in Monterey. And we ended up getting that deal. And I was like, I remember being so proud of our team for taking business from Akeena at the time, and then taking business from the guys that became Real Goods and Solar City guys, and then just realizing just how hard this business is. The Acro guy, Steve Vella, he came to me and he said, you don't really realize you don't really know what you're doing, do you? You just got an MBA and you have no fucking idea what you're doing. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, your literal model is whatever the price is that I give you, charge $1 a watt more, and you keep the $1, and I take all the risk. Yeah. And he's like, it's my contractor's license, it's my crew on site. You're leveraging my pricing with BP Solar.
Yeah.
Little did I know, I had effectively created a sales org long before sales orgs were a thing. And that crisis of conscience, that when he said that, where I was like, he's right. This isn't actually sustainable unless I really figure out how marketing works, not how solar works. And 10 years later, fast forward, and the industry sort of bifurcated in that way, where there's really smart marketing teams and really whip smart installation teams, low, high repetition, low rate of failure, high delivery, and quality and excellence, and able to keep tight margins. But also, I started seeing his numbers, and I was like, man, this doesn't make sense. My dad's a carpenter. Why would anyone want 13, 14, 15% gross margins? Roofers get 30. Carpenters get 30, 40 gross margins. What is this? Do you feel like the industry on the installation side is perpetually plagued with this low margin game, and just sort of does that constraint in and of itself make the inevitable loss of the ITC that much harder?
I think you've got to look at two different kinds of companies. You've got companies that have been in business a long time.
Yeah.
They do everything in-house. They're vertically integrated. They know how to do marketing. They know how to do sales. They know how to do installations. They typically stay in a fairly small geographic area.
Yeah.
Hardly ever go to other cities.
That's right.
Those are the companies that'll continue to do well because they just got this sustainable reputation of business. It's growing.
Yeah.
If you start to disaggregate the functions, you may have companies that do really well for a while. But what is their core competency? And if their core competency is just installations, and some of those sales or marketing capabilities go away from their partners, they're dead.
Yeah, that's right. Should we look at some more?
Let's keep taking a walk.
I'm getting the SunCast interview while we walk.
Yeah.
And you'll
do
get
a little bit of training over
show.
here. Make sure
this is the training wall.
This is one of the training walls.
Okay. This is a screwdriver.
Yeah. And then we've got the safety equipment over here.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Every single this is one of the things that drives me crazy. Every single roof that we're on, we always put on permanent roof anchors.
Permanent.
Permanent
Even on
steel roof
resi.
anchor.
Yeah.
Everyone. Resi, we tell the customers it's a little bit more money because if we ever have to come back to replace anything or wash the panels, you want those anchors.
Yep.
And it's an OSHA requirement to be tied in.
Yep.
So you need anchors. And if you put in temporary anchors, you're going to take them off and you're going to leave holes. So these things cost about $20.
That's fantastic, though. Like, what a commitment to quality. Like, I remember that same school I mentioned, York School. True story. I almost lost my life because that was a wood shake roof. Barry, I walked that roof with no safety gear to do like the measurements. And it was only when I went over to do the install with the crew and I saw that they had anchors and like 5-point harnesses. I was like, this is great. I'm so glad you guys had the safety gear. And they were like, you walked this roof? I was like, yeah, I walked all the way to the edge of this roof. And it was a 40-foot drop.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
And what amazes me is most companies still don't use roof anchors, even though it's an OSHA requirement. And I looked into buying like 1 million of these things just to kind of sell them, but it's hard to, but it's really the best way to go.
Yeah.
This is kind of an interesting illustration of how the solar industry in California keeps changing. We had a very robust commercial business for the last 2 or 3 years. This is a map of downtown San Jose near the airport. And we were selling a bunch of systems. But when AB 2143 hit, which basically meant that any contractor doing commercial installations on a commercial electric bill, they have to follow all prevailing wage regulations. The prevailing wages are okay, but there's certain certified electrician and certified apprentice requirements that a regular solar company in California, it's impossible for them to meet. And so basically I'm tearing all these pictures down. We're not doing any commercial anymore.
No.
It's sad. No, can't do it. Can't risk my license.
What are these pictures up here? Jobs you've done?
These are jobs we've done. And you know, it was, what's amazing about California, when you look at the number of available commercial roofs. What struck me is all these roofs are white. If these are some commercial jobs. We did XL Construction. There was another one over there. But when I fly into Newark Airport, you know, because I visit my family on the East Coast of New Jersey, you see all these blue roofs. Blue. Because Public Service Electric and Gas in New Jersey wants you to install solar, whereas in California, the utilities actually suppress it. Anyway, but there was so many opportunities to sell solar that we would just throw the dart at the building and say, let's call those guys.
That's amazing. I love it.
So kind of a typical
never been in a solar warehouse, this is what it looks like.
Yeah. Electrical components and wire over here, circuit breakers back there. We do things a little bit differently, I think just based on the size and our volume. We used to buy quantities of modules and inverters and keep a large stock of that. But we started working closely with CED, and CED said, let us be your logistics. So basically, we let them know what we sell about when it's going to get installed. And then a week or two before, we say, hey, give us the pallet with everything on there. And that has enormously improved our cash flow. We don't have inventory of old modules that, you know, kind of end up sitting around the corner. And they drop things off, and then we just load these things on the truck and go. This was what I was mentioning about the REC pallets. So
these are the resized pallets.
So CED, they come on big pallets, and CED restocks it. So that we can actually put them on the truck. They
so
just
you can
barely
see this
fit.
is the 50-inch, not redone. And this is the redone one. That's cool. And then, are you using Solega?
No.
What is this?
This is battery land.
Oh,
so we've got stacks of Powerwalls.
I just thought these were like
these. It got to hand it to Tesla. They really, really did a great job when they came out with the Powerwall 3. One of the big hassles with every battery is it comes in cardboard or wooden crate, and it takes time to unpack. The logistics are difficult. You've got a lot of stacked up crap. What Tesla did is they said, hey, we're going to pack the Powerwall in these plastic boxes. And it's a 2-part box. We take it out. We load it on the truck. Even with the battery in there, you can move that thing around one person.
Amazing.
And then we ship them back to the distributor, and it ultimately goes back to Tesla in Nevada. And there's no cardboard.
Reusable. You know, are you familiar with PV Pallet, Philip Schwartz, those guys? What do you think of them? I mean, basically the same idea, but with pallets.
No, I haven't seen it.
Really?
Yeah. What do they do? Is it a pallet?
It is a literal pallet. So they're trying to work mostly with module manufacturers, the way Tesla sends these to you.
Yeah.
So Helion is working with them right now, but they're really focused on the utility scale market where there's 80,000 pallets thrown away on one site.
Wow.
Right? Wood pallets. So it turns out in the commercial market, they tried to work with CD Green Tech, and what they found was that because these pallets are by all accounts for most of the construction crews expendable, what the commercial crews liked is they could just toss the pallets off the roof into the dumpster from the roof.
Mm-hmm.
We can't exactly do that with a reusable PVC pallet.
Yeah.
So, but they've got these, fully reusable PVC pallets. They've got all kinds of data on, how many trees a year you can save and how much even, a warehouse like this would effectively, waste in wood by presuming that it's okay for pallets to be disposable.
Yeah, what happens from a manufacturer standpoint, from modules at least, and it's impressive that Tesla took a different approach on the batteries.
Yeah.
But the module guys would say anything that adds a fraction of a cent to our cost, we're not going to do.
That's
even if it saves money downstream, because downstream's not their problem.
Yeah, I mean, it begs the question, right? Because we've talked about this with regards to recycling PV modules, is can we get to the place where it's regulated that, like with plastics and bottles, there's some sort of a reclaim fee that the consumer pays, right? Yeah. That goes into a fund that helps to pay for this reduction in overall waste. Yeah.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough with PV modules. Basically that's it. We've got the crews coming in early in the morning. They load up what they need.
They've got their pick and pack here.
Yeah. We preset all the
Love seeing
components.
Quick Bolt. Thank you for your hot sauce, Quick Bolt. You guys are amazing. The Quick Bolt hot sauce is really tremendous. They got the swag of the year award last year from us. Yeah.
I when we came out with the spice panels, my wife came up with the idea of spice hot sauce.
Yeah.
And so, she found a place in Louisiana that made, that stuff,
course.
and we still have crates of it.
Yeah, I've contemplated making some for SunCast because
it's easy.
The Carolina Reaper is right there. Actually, they grow the Carolina Reaper, hottest pepper on the planet, in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And so there's a company that makes ghost peppers and Reapers and whatnot, and they'll do white labeled hot sauces. So I've considered. I'm not big on swag for our own company, especially as a small business, but if I ever make swag, it'll probably be a hot sauce.
Hot sauce is pretty good.
Yeah, I love hot sauce.
They're great. Got a little bit of HVAC equipment. We have more warehouse.
Yeah, what do you like from HVAC and water heating, like heat pumps? What have you learned as someone who's sort of steeped in this industry?
What I've learned from the solar industry is the more different types of equipment you install, the less efficient you are. So the tricky thing is pick the ones that are going to give you the best gross margin and that are easiest to sell, not necessarily the cheapest.
Yeah.
And so we've been selling Mitsubishi heat pumps, some Carrier. That's all, nothing else. There's others that are good.
How does that, and that translates as well, like you were saying, to Tesla and Q cells and REC. REC is definitely not the cheapest solar module.
No, it's not.
But
we can get cheaper modules.
Yeah. And Tesla, it amazes me. Tesla is the most expensive battery, and there's a line out the door. They can't keep them in stock. Everybody wants to be a Tesla dealer.
You know what's interesting? When we look at the all-in cost for Tesla versus Franklin versus Enphase, Tesla is actually the cheapest.
Why?
It's just their equipment cost is relatively low, and it's puzzling to us why they're not trying to buy more market share.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they're not trying to buy more market share is they're limited with what they
with their capacity. Yeah.
So it's a lot. So with heat pumps, we also have the what's this manufacturer? Rheem. So we're using Rheem heat pumps, and we like to keep a few in stock because if somebody runs out of if their hot water breaks, they can't really wait too long. So we're able to get this in a couple days. Not as fast as simply a gas replacement, but it works.
Is it? This Rheem is a heat pump. This is a
Rheem
that's a hot water.
This is a hot water heat pump.
Yeah, and I hot water heat pump.
So this basically is domestic hot water. It's exactly the same, probably a 65-gallon tank, exactly the same as a regular gas or electric heater, except on the top, you've got a little refrigerator-sized heat pump unit, and it blows cold air wherever the heat pump's located, like in my garage. So it air conditions my garage. And you've got hot refrigerant going down into the heat pump and the coils, and it is amazingly efficient.
Wow.
I'm using about 70 kilowatt hours on the average throughout the year for my 65-gallon heat pump.
That's all?
It. And then if I look at, amortized with solar at 10 cents a kilowatt hour, I'm paying $7 a month for hot water.
Wow.
It's ridiculously cheap. And it's so good that it essentially, for all intents and purposes, put the residential solar hot water business out of business.
That's right.
Because you can get a few panels, you can put in a heat pump, you're there.
That's amazing. That was some of the,
This is actually something which is bizarre. Solid gold. Worth its weight in gold.
Yeah?
It's refrigerant R454.
Okay.
So the U.S. government, in its wisdom, and I think it's a good thing that they did, is they're coming out with low greenhouse gas refrigerants.
Yeah.
Starting January 1st, 2025, you had to use R454. There's not enough of a supply of R454. There's heat pumps that use it, Mitsubishi, Carrier, everybody's trying to get a shortage of supply. So our heat pump business is backlogged.
Yeah.
Because we can get the equipment,
but we can't get
the refrigerant. So hopefully that'll change. This stuff is gold.
Yeah.
This is a 70-year-old building that we moved into that was decrepit. We signed the lease and we decided to completely renovate it, took out all the electrical lines, took out all the HVAC, modified the plumbing, changed all the walls, brought it up to code. And, we're super happy. The last step is to get the solar in, and we're still working on that. But, we have with solar, we'll have a negative electric bill. Here we are in the lobby. We do seminars here once a month. So we have people from the community come in and learn about solar and storage and heat pumps, and it works out great. And, we just, for history's sake, I have a bunch of old modules up here. Just going way back, there's an early Power Light. I think it's like a 100-watt Siemens module. Then an on-delay module that we had made. This was my invention, made that with SunTech.
Right.
Then the next module over. Oh, go ahead.
This is the second one, yeah?
Yeah, the next one over to the bigger blue one is made by Lightway, and that was the first plug-and-play AC module.
The first one ever?
Yeah.
Is this this was Sentiment Energy, or was this Westinghouse?
This was Westinghouse. UL listed with Westinghouse, plug-and-play AC. So there's an AC connector on the back, and you just plug them together side by side.
Now, what was the difference here with the SunTech?
This was DC. So this was old DC. Okay. This one had microinverters on the back. And we went through all the challenges of having, Enphase makes the best microinverter. We went through all the challenges of getting that mounted on the module in the factory in China, which was hard to do, but we kind of got that figured out, and Enphase was a good partner with that. Yeah. So that did okay. Anyway, I sold that whole company. What's interesting over here on the right, this is the biggest module that's available, highest output module. It's also by far and away the most difficult one to install, get it up on the roof. It's almost too big for somebody to carry.
That's right. So it's an almost two-person job to get it up on the roof. And then you were telling me that one of the sort of interesting things about the way folks maybe in the factory don't think about delivery of this product is in a perfect world, it's like two guys in a truck. You're sending them out on a standard like F-150. And what do you want to do? You want to shove that into the back of the bed of the truck, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So what's the average width of an F-150?
So the F-150 bed's about 49 inches, like every other truck. That's between the wheel wells. Yep. Yeah. And we got the first shipment, and the module's 48 inches, but the pallet was 50 inches. And so it's like, sorry, we just can't accept this. Yeah. This is crazy. And fortunately, our distributor CED now goes through the trouble of repackaging everything for us, which is great. But it's interesting, I kind of asked the people at REC, like, why did you develop this? I mean, you must have known that it's not possible to carry it on a truck. And some people at REC said, well, we wanted to come out with the highest output module we could. They didn't really care about the installations. This is the cheapest module they could make. Once again, you've added a lot of cost and actually danger for the installation company.
Did you imagine in the days when we were installing these like Power Light size modules? I mean, what was the smallest module you installed as a standard module when you first started Akeena?
The Kyocera KC 120 watt module.
120s!
And you can carry two in your hands.
I started with Mitsubishi 190s. So it's not... Thankfully, I'm like proud of the fact that I installed a standard module that was under 200 watts because people can't even fathom that right now. And it was like, this was state of the art.
Yeah.
Mitsubishi 190s.
And they're good modules. Mitsubishi made really good modules.
Super modules. So Kyocera 120. Did you imagine that we would be in a world where the average form factor is 48 inches wide?
It just amazes me. Everything was a meter for 15 years.
Yeah.
And then they made
a meter long.
Well, they're all exactly a meter wide. 66, whatever, 66 cells.
And then the number of cells. Basically, we counted by cells. It was 60 or 72 when I was at Trina.
Yeah.
Man.
And then it just keeps changing. But, it is nice. The price on this is pretty good. But it's just a real challenge.
Especially for sentiment energy. Price is great.
And especially for do-it-yourself people like me, I put some of these on my pergola in my backyard about a month ago.
Are they bifacial?
No,
these are not.
Not.
But they're HIT. So.
Yeah, they're HIT. They're HIT. You've got the amorphous and you got the silicon.
Yeah.
But one person cannot easily move them around on the roof. So, but that's life. And this is kind of a great idea. Once again, it's an AC module. It's with...
Wait, this is a Q-Cells AC module.
This is a Q-Cells AC module.
Who's the vendor?
And, it's from Q-Cells. And what Q-Cells did, which was really smart, is they licensed the LG inverter. So that's an LG licensed inverter. Yes.
I didn't know LG had a micro.
LG, about 5 years ago, LG made the best modules. They were LG AC modules. They were delightful. They were fast to install. They were all AC. They were easy. So this is a Q-Cells, and it's okay.
What's happening? What's happening here? Is there like another output here? I'm confused.
You plug in the trunk cable over here.
Got it. Okay, trunk cable because it's AC.
Yeah, and then this clips, and if there's ever maintenance required, these things clip off. So it's the same design as Enphase had on the AC module, similar to what SunPower did. So but the challenge is the AC modules haven't really taken off.
No.
It kind of upsets me, but that it is what it is. And the last company that really was making hay with those AC modules was SunPower.
Right. With SolarBridge.
So we'll see where we go. So we'll see if Q-Cells gets a lot of traction with that.
Yeah. So you do a lot of batteries now.
95%.
Goodness. 95 attachment. That's amazing. Yeah. Is that standard in California?
At OMA Analytics yesterday or on Friday, we got that overview. I think the standard in California is still around 60 or 70. I don't understand why, because
why are you at 95?
Because the salespeople get a bigger commission on that.
Everything's money motivated, right?
We say that they're coin operated.
Yeah, they are. One of my best friends says that. He came out of the tech industry. And we're looking at the Tesla Powerwall 3, right?
Yeah, the Tesla Powerwall 3, terrific product. It's got a built-in inverter. It's got 6 maximum power point tracking. It's 13 and 13.5 kilowatt hours. So pretty good. And it's heavy. That's a problem.
Do you in California have to contend? So in Texas, they have to put it 48 inches off the floor in the garage if it's anywhere in what they call impact zone. So they can't mount it on the ground in most of the garages.
What's an impact zone? Oh, from
anywhere
vehicle?
the car might potentially hit it.
Yeah.
So if the door can hit it, if the bumper can hit it, it has to be in some location where you absolutely can't turn the car into it to leave it anywhere close to the ground. And so I was talking to Mo at Good Faith, and he was like, "Yeah, I mean, it can't be heavy, and like they're the #1 Powerwall installer in the South."
You totally get used to it. The rules in California are you can't put it in a garage at all, zero,
it has to go
nada, unless the garage has a sprinkler system or a fire detection system that's central alarm.
Why don't more battery companies do a fire suppression system on the unit?
It's expensive, and that doesn't count. So
even if the
inverter has the battery has fire suppression, doesn't count. You need fire suppression in the garage. And the problem is you can have a smoke detector, but smoke detectors don't count.
No.
Because cars make smoke and they're going to set it off. So it's a temperature sensor. So basically, the only way we can install in a garage is sprinklers or an official heat detection system.
Do you have customers that do that?
We have some. New houses, it works. And then we get back to the same issue that you have in Texas, which is it has to be on the side or 3 feet above the ground.
Right.
Or there has to be a curb or bollards.
Bollards, yeah. Something to
and the bollards, not a big deal, right? But then you get the specifications for the bollards and they want you to dig a hole 3 feet deep.
Oh my God.
For each bollard. And that's a $3,000 or $4,000 hassle.
What is this?
This is the disconnect that we had. This is the 400 amp disconnect that used to be in the 70-year-old building. And so when we ripped everything out, we kept this Frankenstein piece of equipment. I just thought it was so cool.
I'm gonna show folks this picture. Chris will incorporate this. It says earthquake. There will always be earthquakes in California. This is beautiful. I love it. It gives you what to do in an earthquake.
And the thing actually still operates. I mean, it's amazing. It's really, really old equipment.
So we're talking about the Franklin and the Tesla and sure Enphase. Like how do you work with your salespeople on making a choice between the three? How does that work?
So we have basically specs, and your customers are basically evaluating the specs, kilowatt hours, cost, the number of solar panels, things like that, versus their commission. And basically what I like to do, just because of supply uncertainties, this is the craziest time, I don't want any one manufacturer to be over 50% of my sales.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so we kind of modify things back and forth, because when companies come out with new products, sometimes they don't always ship on time.
Right.
And you can really, really sell a lot and then find out, oh, it's going to be delayed.
Certainly one of these vendors has had a regular problem with that.
Yes, it's endemic in the industry, and then the tariffs and everything else make it worse. So I just like to control it that way. But in an ideal world, it'll be a third Enphase, a third Franklin, and a third Tesla. So often we'll sell a lot more based on some manufacturer spiffs. But they're all really good products.
And are you doing span control sensors, span smart panels?
We're doing a few span smart panels.
Who are they licensing this through? Do you know?
I have no idea.
No?
I didn't even realize it. I thought it was going to be a Solar Edge charger, which we have a lot of those.
Yeah.
But span is, if somebody wants a whole new panel, it's great. What I like about the Franklin, and Enphase is also offering this feature too, is it's got load shedding built in.
Yeah.
So I have that at my house. Basically, if there's a blackout, I have
the Franklin one.
The Franklin, it's actually the A-Power S. It's the new one, but it has built-in load shedding in the gateway. And if there's a blackout, it automatically turns off the pool pumps and the EV charger.
Yeah.
It leaves the HVAC on, it leaves a few other things on, but I can modify those.
Yeah.
And it gives me the ability, I'll have two batteries, but right now I have one. Gives me the ability to kind of plow right through blackouts without even a blink.
Amazing.
That's good.
That's cool.